Selling based on price as an insulation business is what's keeping you broke. A question I want you to ask yourself is, do you go to Starbucks on a regular basis, or do you go back to your home and make yourself a coffee? If you go to Starbucks, I can guarantee you you're buying based on value and not on price, because a coffee costs you 20 cents to make, but you're losing $5 every time you go to Starbucks for the same product. You're not buying based on price because you could have done that at home. You're buying based on quality and the quality of the Starbucks name. Now, regardless of if you buy Starbucks or not, I can guarantee you've bought a product or a service based on the value and the quality over the price. For example, an iPhone or any Apple product. They're more expensive than anything else, but you bought it anyway because value isn't the same as price. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create an offer in your sales pitch to make sure that you are selling based on the value that you provide and not racing to the bottom like all the rest of them on price. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that value is not the same as price. Now, the best salespeople in the world never sell on price. And if you can't sell that well, what you do is you default to reducing the price to match up with that product. Customers don't buy on price. They buy on value. They default to price in the absence of value or a quality experience. Sales isn't a call, it's an experience from start to end. I've mentioned it in many other videos. If you haven't had a chance to go and watch them, it's super important that you do to learn other foundational value. But customers buy on value and only to default on price. Why do you think all the bigger companies with higher profit margins always seem to win the big jobs and the ones that even are smaller but have a high profit margin? It's because they offer value. They don't offer a lower price. And that's always been the case. For example, Apple with the iPhone. Everybody knows they've got the biggest profit margins over anybody else. But because their product is so good and they offer value, and the value is the convenience, that's why people continue to buy it. And your value comes in your offer. Think about what you actually offer someone. In the sales pitch, I'm sure a lot of people actually just say, what we're going to do is we're going to spray you 2 inches of spray or fit or do a whole attic rehab, blah, 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 with this sort of material, this sort of bats, this sort of fiberglass, however you want to say it. That's not what you're actually selling them. You're selling them a solution to their problem. And their problem is usually one of 3 things. They've got a high electricity bill, they've got an uncomfortable environment, whether that's their work environment or their home environment, or a problem with their air quality. So you're solving one of these 3 problems. Now, what you need to do is look at this table here. I'm sure you've seen it before. This is Hormozy's table of value, and it is super, super important. What this shows is that someone's dream outcome times by their likelihood of achieving that outcome over the time delay, so how long that outcome would take to create, and the effort and sacrifice is equal to the value. Okay, so what we'd like to do is make this section as small as possible and this section as big as possible. Okay, so firstly, what's super important for a lot of businesses and a lot of homeowners or people is flexi scheduling and quick scheduling. If you can get someone in and solve their problem quick, that's going to be a great tick. And if it can be done to the least amount of effort and sacrifice, again, big tick. We want the sales process to be easy and we want the solution to the problem to be easy. Insulation isn't flashy. It's not a want, it's a need. So it's especially important that this is made as low friction as possible. The more we do of this and show them the dream outcome and their likelihood of achieving it, make that as big as possible, your value is going to be through the roof. Their dream outcome isn't 3 inches of spray foam. Their dream outcome is sound reduction, or a warmer home if it's cold, or a cooler home if it's warm, and lower electricity bills. This is what people are actually looking for. Now, your added value is actually equal to your product value plus your value as a business. Right? That's the added value between what they have now and what they will have compared to anything else. Now, product value can be done by anybody. Any truck in a truck can have the same product value as you because they could use the same material and the same whatever. But your value of a business or as a business is exactly what you want to capitalize on when it comes to sales. So how do you add value to your offer as an installation sales rep? There's 4 ways you can do this. Number 1, identify the real issue. Don't know why I've done the last 2 in capitals, but either way, we want to identify the real issue. And what this means is when you go into the home, someone can say, oh, I've got this weird smell in the home, okay? Which could mean obviously bad air quality, mean mold, rodents, droppings, etc., okay? Your job is to identify what this really means. With your expertise and knowledge on what you do in your product, you can actually realize what these guys can't, or homeowners or business owners or whatever it is that you're serving. So let's just say someone is coming to you with the issue that they have a weird smell in their property, okay? That could mean a few things. So smell, that's the only level of awareness prospect has. Trigger, that's their trigger. So the real problem could be mold, or it could be rodents. Now, these things could cause more negative impact. Poor breathing, increased health risks. I know asthma is a big one. So what you're doing here is you're figuring out what they have and finding out the real issue. If you're able to bring out the real issue in their life, you're already halfway to selling them, because you've just turned a bad smell into poor breathing, health risks, and illness. Now, people can't put a price on health. So you've already increased your value as an insulation business quadruple or 10x, literally, by just being able to provide this. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 is keeping the buyer out of trouble. Now, what does this mean? This means you want to make sure that you have your clients or your prospects' interests at heart. You want to protect them as much as you can. You already know your product's the best. You know your business is the best people to choose. So you want to make sure that they go with you by any means possible. Now, one thing that's huge in the nation is the 3 estimate rule. And that's something that a lot of people live by when it comes to making a purchasing decision. So you need to protect them from the other bad vendors. So what you can do by doing this is say, things to look out for. In other estimates. So one of the things could be, don't accept an estimate over phone. Because you need to meet the people you're working with. Your home or your place of work is somewhere very precious to you. You need to meet the people who are going to be working there. And a lot of the time, an estimate over the phone isn't real, because they'll come there and they'll realize this, and this is a problem. So looking at an estimate over the phone is a red flag. You want to make sure that people avoid that. So that's one thing to look out for. Number 2, you could say, make sure they take pictures. A lot of people will say you need X, Y, and Z. You need a complete redo, this, that, and the other, without any evidence of why, just so that they can bump up their margins on their materials and labor and make more money. You want to make sure that you protect your prospects here. So that's something to look into. And a third one could be make sure they have insurance. It's not uncommon for people to fall through roofs or make mistakes and damages to a property when they're there working, right? Even if you're a good vendor, shit happens, okay? You want to make sure that they have insurance. So these are the things that you want to really reflect with that client to make sure, again, your value goes up, because they think this guy's really looking out for me. He's valuable to have, and he's probably the people I should go for. So again, increasing your trust and increasing your value. Number 3, increase their knowledge. Give them industry insights. Be an authority. You need to be an authority figure and you need to give them real industry insights to give them the confidence to buy with you. Again, your value isn't just based on what you do, but how you do it. Showing them knowledge of, how insulation can help the well-being in their home is going to be huge. The facts, these are the facts. X amount of homes are under insulated and X amount of homes have bad insulation. And this is why there is such a high asthma rate in the area or a high illness rate, or this is the problems it actually causes. Pointing these things out before the homeowner even realizes that that's what's causing it is something that will sell them. So sharing your knowledge and your expertise really does sell, but not in a super technical way, because that actually turns them off. The last one is streamline the buying process. What does this mean? You want to make it as easy as possible for them to buy. From the moment you go through the sales process, to the moment they make the purchasing decision, to the moment you finish the job and give them that timeline, you want to make that as easy as possible. It comes back to the chart up here. Effort and sacrifice and time delay, you want to keep that as low as possible. So that's what I mean by making that process as streamlined as possible. People don't want headache as well as buying something. They've already gone through enough headache to make the money. They want this conveniently. Installation, again, it isn't flashy. They want it done quickly, they want it done easily, and they want it done now, really. So you want to make sure that you're providing that for them. And that is a few of the ways to increase your value as an insulation business. Do this and you will not have to sell on price anymore or lower your price. You'll be really selling on value because nobody else is doing it. Everyone else is selling 2 inches of foam or an attic rehab, but they're not selling what the problem really is. So connect with your clients, connect with your prospects, get a real understanding of what they need and sell based on that, because that solution is priceless compared to your insulation. Click here if you want to watch any other videos or subscribe to our channel. We're looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace.